Hello, it's Joshua of Milestone Play again, and once again we are on the road. The last time we took a drive together was for my Southern Player Tour, but now we're going to go across the northern United States as I am relocating from Indiana to Washington. Not sure where all we're going to stop. There's a couple places tomorrow, but today is mainly going to be driving, looking at road signs, and getting distracted a little bit. Let's get going. So I've passed by quite a few state parks and war memorials, but world's largest truck stop seems tourist trappy enough for me to actually stop. This place has pretty much every mall, kiosk, and store in an open format everywhere. The trucking museum also exists, but we're not stopping there. So it's currently 6:45 p.m. I have been on the road for 8.5 hours. I have had nothing to eat but a little bit of candy throughout the day. And I'm stopping in Sioux City, Iowa to get some barbecue. Then we have another couple hours before I find some place to park and crash for the night. Okay, so I tried to go to two different barbecue places. Both of them were closed for different reasons, so I'm getting Ethiopian instead. So I'm really batting 1,000 here. The Ethiopian place that I went to go to turns out to be predominantly a hookah lounge, which is not someplace I want to spend my time. There seems to be another place just around the corner that is similar. We'll see if that one works out for me. And that place was also closed. So I guess I'm gonna have basic generic American. That is where I shot the first video, and after walking all around downtown and repositioning the car, this is where I'm eating. This is not even the end of day one, and this trip is almost going to break me. So I just entered South Dakota, but I do want to make note that I did go 1,000 feet into Nebraska to get gas before coming back out again. Technically, this road trip did include Nebraska. Okay, it's now 10 p.m. We are at a rest stop in the southern side of South Dakota. We are about 30 minutes from a tourist location tomorrow. I am really tempted to just drive through the night. As I learned on my Southern Player Tour, I drive a lot more at night. It's a lot easier. I don't have to think about it. But also, I miss all the tourist sites. So I'm forcing myself to stop now. We will not make this a 2-day trip. We will make this a 3-day trip. For my sanity, for my safety, and we'll actually see some things along the way. So we will see you again when we get back on the road tomorrow and get to our next tourist site. Okay, it is 8 a.m. I have had my breakfast and we are already at our first tourist stop of the day. However, this one needs some context. Not a lot of context. I absolutely despise corn. Cornflakes are fine. Cornbread without any niblets in it is fine. But cooked corn, either in a bowl, on a cob, all that is repulsive to me. The scent turns my stomach. As a child, my parents tried to encourage us to eat food, try things, eat healthy things. It quickly became apparent that corn would not be one of those things that I ate. So, what is this tour stop? It is the Corn Palace. As I waited to get inside, waiting for the door to open, a handful of older women started to congregate outside as well. Turns out that this is continuous with City Hall, and they were just waiting to go to work. The outside has changed every year, and this year's theme is Wonders of the World. So that little montage was taken by a grandmother that is walking laps right now for exercise, that just comes here, enjoys it, and wants tourists to have a good time. Lovely. So it's 9:30 and we are having an unscheduled stop. I saw a really old billboard along the side of the road for the Sioux Museum and Cultural Center. So decided to stop here along the way, and it is very much updated to the point where it's no longer even called the Sioux Museum, but formerly the Akta Lakota Museum and Cultural Center, which is a very nice thing to see.
You ought to follow the example of the wolf, Sioux. Even when he is surprised and runs for his life, he will pause to take one more look at you before he enters his final retreat. So you must take a second look at everything you see.
Yes! That's 3 points. I missed one. Three points, but I got a different set. Nope. That's the streak gone. Would have been one. Yeah, that would only be one, I think. The other two are just still kind of there. I need to stop. Otherwise, I'll be here all day.
Okay, it is now noon. We are in Wall, South Dakota, and we are here for the Wall Drugstore, a massive old-time drugstore and soda fountain and general shop. I've heard it described as the front half of a Cracker Barrel turned into an entire museum. They've also got some big dinosaurs, so let's go check it out. It can't be a trip without me getting some weird flavored candy. Story time. So back at the Corn Palace, I had mentioned that the lady had asked to help take a photo of me at some of the tourist sites. After I looked around for a bit, I was upstairs, I looked out the balcony, and I saw next to just this giant like statue of a corn cartoon character, there was a mother trying to corral her kids in the motion of like, hey, get there, I want to take a photo of you, and they weren't really having it. So I'm about to leave. I go downstairs. By the time I get outside of the Corn Palace, they have just broken up from like having like adult male to adolescent females, having taken a picture with the mother taking the photo, moving away. I decided I'd reach out like, hey, do you want a photo with you in it, like with all of you together? Because having grown up a child with parents, there's very few photos of my mother in them on the family vacations. So she was very happy about that. The daughters were not happy. They were very much done with photos, but they put up with it, got some photos there. They were very thankful, whatever. I didn't bring this up earlier because that seemed like virtue signaling. However, now that we're 2 stops down the road, I sit down at the restaurant at the Wall drugstore. And as I'm sitting down waiting for my food, from the table next to me, there's a lady reaching out her hand. Excuse me, were you at the Corn Palace earlier? You were the one that took our photo. And so met up with them just randomly because I decided to sit down in that exact spot. However, I stopped at the Akta Lakota museum. Like, this timing is off, and yet that still happened. They ask if I'm going to be heading to Mount Rushmore next, because that's kind of the little tourist trek through this southern half of South Dakota. And the answer was going to be no. I thought about, okay, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. It's not big on my list. But now I have to, just in case I bump into them again. So let's head to Mount Rushmore. So I got here right before a rush. Like, there was like 2 people walking up here with me, 2 people already here, and now there's like 5, 6 families. I don't know how that happened, but at least there's fewer people in the video. Mount Rushmore, a U.S. monument where a family with a heavy Asian accent asks a man with a heavy Germanic accent to take their family photo, while I still continue to run into the same exact American family. So I just got a few more photos of them as a family unit. Cindy, her 2 daughters, and her brother John. The only request I had for them was that we go back to the Wall drugstore, the one location I have not taken those photos today, and get that done for them. That way we have a complete set. Unfortunately, that's an hour and a half back, an hour and a half back this way. So it's 3 hours out of the way. Not that much of an issue, right? Okay, back in the car. With all the stops and diversions that we've had, we still have about 14 hours of driving to go. It's almost 4 p.m. I would like to get at least 5 more hours of driving done today. The more we can get done today, the less we have to do tomorrow, which means we'll get to the apartment tomorrow earlier, and it'll be easier for me to get stuff out of the car, upstairs, organize, all that sort of stuff. So we'll see how many other stops we have on this trip. We've done the 2 pseudo-planned stops. We've done 3 additional stops that weren't planned for. But yeah, at this point, it's just going to be driving. And if I see a sign, especially tomorrow, probably stop. But today, the main goal is to just get mileage, find some place to eat, and then find some place to park at night. Turns out that parking at the rest stops and camping out in the car in South Dakota is actually finable as a petty offense if you're there for more than 3 hours. So last night, rather than staying at the rest stop, as is my usual MO for these trips, I ended up going to a gas station. But yeah, we will see if getting through the little bit of Wyoming that's going to be done today, and then into the smidgen of Montana that we'll be in, if we find someplace good to rest, especially if it's a rest stop that is legal to stay the entire night as a non-commercial vehicle. If only I were a truck driver, then I could be there for 10 hours. Instead, pedestrians, that's actually the wrong word. This personal automotive vehicle, 3 hours. Either way, we're not going to be in South Dakota tonight. We're almost probably like an hour outside of Wyoming. We'll find out. But yeah, just a little bit to Wyoming. We'll get through all of Wyoming today and then into Montana. And tomorrow will be almost all Montana, with us cutting through the top of Idaho into Washington at the very end, as Spokane is very close to the eastern border.
In a quarter mile, make a U-turn.
Okay, so I was on the road for maybe 5-10 minutes, and there's the Crazy Horse Mountain Monument Center. I don't have good willpower. I'm never getting out of South Dakota. Editor Joshua here for another multi-location story, though this one is far less convoluted than the saga of Cindy and family. Back at Mount Rushmore, I had said,
At least there's fewer people in the video.
that's because I try to avoid putting random people in videos when I can. When I was getting the B-roll of Mount Rushmore, I caught a little bit of an elderly gentleman talking to me about
They couldn't build that today for a trillion
of dollars, he continued as I turned the camera off. He then continued to talk about all of the red tape and unions and how every time a single person sneezed, they would have to stop everything to do an investigation into the incident and file everything in triplicate and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. While I hung around waiting a bit to see if Cindy and family would show up, I shot a short piece to camera about this incident. I immediately deleted it because I felt like the negativity of a politically leaning old man yells at birds bit wasn't needed in this video. Why then am I recounting it now after the fact? Because just down the road we are actively erecting a 500-foot monument that is proof to the contrary. The heads of Mount Rushmore are only 60 feet tall. Not only are we doing it, but we're going an order of magnitude beyond. And now, the deleted bit is in this video to remind future Joshua of all of past Joshua's unresearched complaints and to remind him to not become a grouch. Okay, so it's about 11 at night. I have about 8 hours to drive tomorrow, and that's now something I have to worry about. Okay, mid-road update. We have currently been driving for about 4 hours. I have stopped for gas once. I have not had breakfast. We started driving at 6:45. It's now 10:45. I have not had a lunch either. But I don't think we're stopping. At this point, there have been no signs for anything to stop at, though we are approaching Missoula. For those of you who don't know, Missoula, Montana is one of the two primary locations that Crash Course is filmed. It's where Hank Green lives. And I have suddenly realized that I am driving cross-country from one Green brother to another. And I could have delivered something had I just thought to ask before starting. So, sorry about that. But, yeah, I don't know if we're going to stop. Likely we will just continue to drive through. So we will see if there's any other major updates. If you look down at the little gray and red bar on YouTube, you probably will see whether or not there's another stop. So you know now, I am yet to find out.